back to the FanTEAsy podcast, where two besties spill all the delicious tea on the books we read. I'm Callie, and my bestie is obviously Montana, and we are fucking thrilled today to be hosting our new bestie, beloved friend, Tracy Wolff, New York Times bestselling author. Oh my fucking God. Sorry for the language, but right out of the gate, we are so excited. I can't.
Like, what? The Tracy Wolff, so freaking cool. Oh my goodness. I just cannot believe it. Before we roll right on into that, oh my gosh, it's going to be so beautiful and amazing. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, check us out on Patreon, where our new favorite episodes, not favorite, but some of our favorite episodes are coming out. And also, Callie, what era are you in?
Ooh. Shit. I would probably be, let's see. Okay, hold on. Oh, no, Midnights. Yep.
Same.
What era are you?
Same.
Ooh.
I'm in Midnights,
babe.
yeah.
That final brain cell working together again.
Look at us. This is what happens when you leave me. Guys, Callie just left me for a week to go on a beach vacation without me. Ugh, rude. It's fine.
It was so beautiful.
But now that we're back, it's just so much more chaotic, and I'm here for it.
We are back. Back full force.
Welcome back. Back again. And then it's Christmas, and we're not back again.
No. I know. This December month has really been kind of hectic, but it's good. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. Yeah. We're just rocking and rolling. It's fine. And it's literally...
It's fine.
I don't think everyone listening is prepared for like how amazing Tracy is. So seriously, we're gonna jump right in, and please welcome Tracy Wolff. Well, welcome back to the podcast. We are so very excited to be welcoming Tracy Wolff, New York Times bestselling author, phenomenal human. We are so excited to have you today. Let's get started with something easy and just tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, let me say thank you so much for having me. I love the title of your podcast. I think it's super cool.
Thank you.
How fun for like a podcast that deals with fantasy and particularly romantic fantasy. I think it's fantastic. What a great title. And also, it was so fun meeting you. I don't know if well, obviously people don't know, but we actually met at a fantasy ball earlier this year, and they were so beautiful and so dressed up and just so lovely to speak to that I was so excited to be able to come here on this podcast.
Yeah,
I know it's taken us a couple months to organize it, but I'm really thrilled to be here. You guys are fantastic. Okay, a little bit about me. My name is Tracy Wolff, and I have written a lot of different books in the course of my career. My first book came out in 2007, but the one that I'm probably most known for right now is the Crave series, which you can kind of see behind me on my walls. And ignore all the boxes that are Christmas presents hiding in my office for my children. They're not allowed in that corner over there. And so I'm a mom. I have three boys, and also I'm now working on the spinoff to the Crave series. It is called Sweet Nightmare, or the first book is called Sweet Nightmare. It's actually the Calder Academy series. It's got a few characters from Crave in it, but it's also got some brand new characters as well, and it's kind of a standalone, but adjacent because it's in the Crave world. And what else about me? My other series right now is Starbringer, which is a romantasy but set in a sci-fi world. It's kind of like Breakfast Club on a spaceship. Breakfast Club meets Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess is kind of how people call it, or Firefly, depending. And so it's a lot of fun. It is a ridiculous amount of fun to write. I'm in the middle of writing the second book with Nina right now. It's called Sunkeeper, and we are having a lot of fun because we're writing from a couple characters' points of view that we didn't do in the first book, and that's been a lot of fun. What else? I Love to cook. I've been traveling a lot recently just because I've been on the road so much for work. And that's been really fun, getting to go to a bunch of different places and meet a lot of different readers in all these different cities, states, countries. It's been really exciting. So that's kind of who I am. Is that good?
That was
That's
perfect.
fantastic.
All right.
Yeah.
You're just amazing, and we love you so much.
Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, and I forgot, I have 3 dogs, including 2 of the most adorable Yorkie puppies in the world, who you might see running in here throughout. So we'll see what happens.
We are big animal people. Like, we both
Bring the
have a bunch of
dogs.
pets, so we are always like, yes, show us the puppies, show us the babies, anything.
Awesome. Yeah. Mine are, I've never had small dogs before. This is the first time I've had small ones, and they're my babies. I just love them so much. They just come around with me pretty much everywhere.
So compact, and then you could just bring them with you.
Yeah, they actually think that. Like, when I'm traveling, like, one gets so mopey, and then he crawls in the suitcase and hides under my clothes. Like, I'm not going to know he's there, and he just kind of makes himself really small. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. This, you can't be like, it's really sad.
That's totally me with my pug. I'm like, I just want to take you everywhere. You were the best.
I know, right? Dogs are the best. Dogs are amazing.
So, little topic shift. You have written so many books. You are super successful in all of your writing and everything. We are curious what other authors you've kind of like have inspired you just to like continue on your journey, or really like how you started out as an author.
Well, I was in my other life for many years. I was a high school English teacher, and then as I was getting my degrees, and then I was a college American Lit professor and writing professor. So I always say I kind of go back to, I love coming of age stories. It's why I started in romance, but why I also always wanted to write young adult and new adult. Because there's something so fascinating about those stories that take you through the first in characters' lives. Like the first kiss, the first boyfriend, the first check they ever wrote. I remember writing my first check. It was from my college tuition, my freshman year of college. And I was terrified because, college tuition is not cheap. And it was a big check, and I was like handshaking, traumatized. But like, that's like a big first in like, somebody's life, and getting your first apartment, like all of those things are amazing. So I always say, like, 2 of my favorite books of all time are actually House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. I don't know if you've read it. It's one of those ones that I've taught a million times, and it's about a young girl named Esperanza living on Mango Street in inner city Chicago. And I'm going to use the term Chicana because that is the term that Sandra Cisneros identifies with. She considers herself a Chicana writer. And so it's about this young girl of Mexican background living in Chicago and trying to find like a house of her own, right? Which kind of throws you back to a room of my own, right? From way back. But just going through this and watching this girl come of age was just in these tiny little slice of life vignettes that make such a powerful statement about women and feminism and poverty and friendship and family and love, like all these incredible themes that I think are so incredibly important in the world we live in, is a book that's near and dear to my heart. Obviously, Catcher in the Rye is another one because I love an anti-hero. I always have from the time I was very young. And I will say that my very first, with the exception of like Sweet Valley High and all of that from when I was very young, my first exposure to romance was from a writer by the name of Jude Devereaux. I was like too young, probably. It was the summer going into, I can't remember the summer. I think it was the summer going into 7th grade. And my mom and I, one of our things that we always did every other weekend is she would take me to the bookstore. We'd go to the bookstore, we'd get a stack of books, and we would come home and I would have them to read. Like I was the girl that like my parents punished. See? Oh my gosh. So I have so many stories I have to tell you about this. But I was the girl.
I haven't read this yet.
Oh my gosh.
Lavender Morning. I haven't read this yet, but you said that and I was like, wait, I have one of those.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And mine were like we'll get to that in a second, but like my mom was the one who would punish me by taking away reading, because like she had like, there was nothing else in my world. Music and reading were kind of my things. So like anytime like I was doing something extracurricular, she was excited, you know, especially when I was in middle, like, yes, go do that volleyball game. But like when you come home, you can't read, you know? So like her friends were all like, how can you take reading away from her? She's like, you don't understand. You don't understand. Like this is how you torture my daughter. And it's true. It is. If you wanted to punish me, that was how you tortured me. And so anyway, this one day in particular, we had gone to the bookstore, and you know, the YA section at that time was not what it is now, right? It just wasn't. And it turns out I had read everything in the YA section and everything in the classic section, and there was nothing left for me to read. And I was, you know, a 12-year-old girl, and maybe I was a little pissy about it. I'm not going to lie. I was very obnoxious. And I guess I was pouting too much. And finally at dinner, my mom had enough, and she took this romance novel, and I happen to have a book lying on my desk, shockingly, and she slid it across the table to me, right? And she was like, why don't you try that? And my dad was like, really, Andy? One of your my mother's name was Andrea. Really? One of your romance novels? And she's like, you never know. She might like it. And it happened to be Jude Devereaux's Velvet Promise, which is the first book. Well, I'll just say it's the first Jude Devereaux book, or the first romance I ever read. And I got into bed that night. I started to read, and I didn't sleep all night. And I meet her at the breakfast table the next morning, and I'm like, look, there are 4 brothers in this book, and I know they're better. I am sure there are 3 more books. I want them. Hand them to me now. And she like laughed, gave me the next 3. And the big family joke in my house was that I read those 4 books until they fell apart. Like I just destroyed them. And my mom was like, you know, and so later on I had bought her the 4 copies again when I was an adult as kind of a like little joke. But then years ago, I was writing for Random House at the time that Jude Devereaux was, and I think if you look at that book, you'll see it's a Random House book, if I'm not mistaken. Penguin Random House now. But she had made her comeback, and Random House was the I think that was that Simon? Anyway. Maybe she'd moved. But at that time, she was making her come back, and she was doing it at Random House. And so they had a big cocktail party to welcome her in at a conference that we were at, and invited us all in. And I got to meet her and tell her about what a huge influence she'd been in my life. And then I asked her to sign a book for my mother. And so she signed a really lovely book for my mom. And it kind of was this whole full circle moment for me. Yeah. And it was really special. So normally coming of age stories, but like old school romances have my heart and always will.
I love that.
I loved that.
That summer, I went through hundreds of them. So
now I'm like really intrigued by this book because I've had it for a while. I picked it up at like a used bookstore, and now I'm like, It just was really pretty and purple, and that's my favorite color. So I was like, oh, that looks
right.
Good.
Purple is my favorite. That's why so much of the great series is why the Shadow Realm is purple. Yep. Everybody always asks me, why is the Shadow Realm purple? It's my favorite color, and it was either like if you think of shadows, like it'd be purple or black or gray, and what's more fun?
Exactly.
Okay, so now I'm interested because obviously you taught, and I'm guessing probably were dabbling in writing at the same time, but when was the trajectory shift to then being like a full-time author and stepping away from teaching?
Well, that was a long road because I love teaching, and it's something I did actually all the way up until the pandemic because I love it. And during the pandemic, you know, once you're removed from the classroom being with the students, I mean, that's the part I love the most. That was no fun. So I'd taken time off anyway. And then with as much as I travel now for Crave, there's no way for me to also be in the classroom. But the trajectory for when I went from dabbling at writing, because I've always known I wanted to be a writer, like my whole life. It's why, you know, I was an English major and got all these English degrees. My mom's big joke. My mom's big thing was, you know, you can be a writer if that's what your passion, but you're not living with me when you're 40. So you better, you know, make sure you have a career to fall back on. And she says, I don't care if it's something in business or something in teaching, but you better have something. Well, I come from a long line of teachers, and it turned out to be teaching. It's one of my loves. And I always teased her because right around the time I was 40, my mom got very, very ill and had to move in with me. And I'm like, so now you're living with me when I'm 40. And I was her full-time caretaker for caregiver for a number of years, before she passed away while I was writing Charm, in fact. And so anyway, the big shift though came when I actually moved to Austin. We were transferred here for my now ex-husband's job, and we had I had just had a premature son. My middle son was about 18 months, I think, when we moved to Austin, and he'd had lung problems from the time he was born. And my doctor had told me, if you can stay home with him for a year and keep him out of daycare or out of, anything, we have a chance of really healing his lungs. And I mean, this could change his whole life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when you put it like that, it's a no-brainer, right? You're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, we'll swim, we'll save, we'll do whatever we have to do. And I'll stay home for a year. Well, I stayed home with him. One of the many great things about my middle son, who a character in Crave is modeled after, actually. But one of the many great things about him is he was an incredible napper when he was young. And he would give me about 2.5 hours every day that he would nap, which my oldest son never napped, like never. 15 minutes later, he was ready to go. Like I had literally just got a load of laundry on and maybe gotten a glass of water. And he's like, let's go, Mom. So this was a great thing for me. And so for several months, for 2.5 hours a day, this is back when I didn't even have a laptop. I worked on like a, desktop. I would sneak up the stairs and I would start writing, and I would write for 2.5 hours until I heard him cry and wake up. And then that's how I wrote my first 2 books, actually. And I was very blessed because my first 2 books were picked up for publication, one by Harlequin and one by Penguin, within about a year of me writing them, maybe a year and a half. So they came out, and the first one came out in 2007, November 2007, and the next one came out in January of 2008. And I've just kind of been on this trajectory ever since. So I've been writing steadily, having at least most years having several books out a year from then until now. And also teaching, and for a long time being a single mom. So it was a hamster wheel, but it is one that I think it's so important, because this has been my dream forever. And I think like showing my kids that that like sometimes it's really hard to get your dream, and sometimes you have to work really hard at it, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with working hard and going after what you want. And I've just kind of done that for, I don't know, most of my adult life, I guess. Like I said, this is what I want to do my whole life. So
you're chasing your dreams.
There you go. Exactly. I am chasing my dreams. I'm sorry, not to interrupt. Another bizarre story is when I was in graduate school, I worked for a world famous biographer. Her name was Carol Gelderman. And she was so cool. She was an older woman. And anyway, because she was an older woman, she'd been so afraid that if she learned how to type, she'd be stuck like being a secretary to some man. So she'd never learned how to type. So one of the jobs I had for her, when I was her graduate assistant, there were several different things I did that year, but one was researching the book she was writing. And then every week she would come in on like Monday with 2 chapters handwritten, and I would have to type them up. And so I got to watch this book. It's the first time I ever watched a book come together. It was a nonfiction book, but it was still really cool. But at the end, she wrote her acknowledgments, and she thanked me in the acknowledgments. And I was 20 years old. And I'll never forget, that was the first time my name ever appeared in a book published from New York. And I swore to myself that day that it was not going to be the last. And I just,
and here you
I
are.
am. So anyway, that's a little bit about how I got to where I am.
Oh, I love a full circle moment. Love
right?
It
like full
moment.
circle.
Yes.
It's fun, right? The two Deborah was another, like, it's really cool. Another one, I'd been teaching and talking about a house on Mango Street for many years. And then I was at a convention or at a conference in San Antonio, because I live in Austin. And Sandra Cisneros used to live there, and she was there. And I have never fangirled so hard in my life. Like, just like I was with friends who were dying because it was so ridiculously funny how like starstruck I was to like stand in line forever to meet her and get to talk to her. And then it was so funny. After we talked about her book for 30 seconds, and then she's like, you know what? That's a really pretty bra you have on, because I guess my bra was showing. And we ended up spending the rest of the time talking about lingerie. And I was like, it was like an out of body moment. I'm like, this woman has been my literary hero forever, and I'm talking about my bras with her.
Yep.
Okay. And but also that whole moment, that I think readers sometimes have with oh, she's just like a regular person who wants to know about bras.
Human.
Normal human. It was amazing,
But at the same time, the authors that we love and adore are gods.
Literally,
you put them up on a pedestal because you're creating these masterpieces that change lives. As readers, not gonna get emotional. Books change lives.
I think it's so true.
Literally,
they impact
do change
you.
lives. I know so many books that have changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the most amazing compliments I've had, the success of the Crave series has been actually one of the most humbling experiences of my life. It's been really, really humbling, because what you're saying about, now I'm going to cry.
I know. I'm trying so hard to keep it together.
We can all just cry together. It's fine.
A lot on the podcast. It's fine.
We do a lot of this.
No, I think that's amazing, right? Because you hear one of the things I love about meeting my readers is they have so many of them have stories about how the Crave series has touched their lives, or how what it's meant to them, and why it's important, and that is incredible to me. But there was somebody not very long ago who had told me, actually, or I think had written it in a post and had tagged me in it, so I had seen it, about the fact that she'd been having trouble at home for a very long time, and that it was reading books like heroines like Grace, and I think she'd also mentioned Rebecca Yarros's hero, right? Violet, and how reading these girls and these women, young women who have, the strength to who aren't what you expect from this incredible, heroine, gave her the strength to stand up for herself. And I just thought, oh my, in her life and in her marriage. And I just thought, oh my gosh, that's just the biggest compliment and the most humbling thing I can ever imagine, somebody saying to me. Because one of my goals in the Crave series, right, is to show that there are all different kinds of female strength. I think that our whole lives we're kind of told that there's only one way for a woman to be strong. And we're told that way because the patriarchy kind of models it after how men are strong. Yeah. And I think that thank you. I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. I look at the women in my life. I'm very blessed because I've spent most of my life in women dominated professions. So I've known a lot of incredible women in my life. And I look at all the different ways there are to be strong. And I tried to represent that, in the Crave series. Grace gets back up one more time than she's been knocked down. That is absolutely her strength. She just will not give up, and life will knock you down. It is guaranteed that it's going to knock you down, Eden is much more of the kick-ass, take no prisoners kind of girl. Right. Macy is the cheerleader,
has
the nurturer.
My heart.
Macy, Macy girls, I always say Macy girls are some of my favorite, because I feel like Macy is such a beautiful, beautiful character.
Yeah.
That that girls who are really touched by her, I mean, I think that they are also, I always meet them and I'm always like, you can just tell, it just really just what a beautiful person you are, and I love that. And so for her, there's all these different kinds of ways for women to be strong. And I think that we don't, society, the world, our families, our, whatever, don't have the right to tell us how to be strong. There's strength in who we are, and in genuinely who we are, and embracing that, and then doing. And the other big thing about the Crave is always doing your best, right? I try to create characters characters that are kind. I think kindness is so important in the world. This whole idea of do no harm, this whole idea of really trying to leave the world a little better, or whatever situation you're in, a little better than how it was when you got there. I think there's such power, such quiet strength in that, and I think that the Crave books are very much about that as well. So I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh, Tracy!
I'm not sure how we got on this topic, but that's kind
30
of
minutes
those
in,
are kind of
and
my
we're
gig.
like,
We're just a blubbering mess. It's fine.
Like I said, we could just sit here and like cry together.
oh my gosh.
So I want to kind of combine the next two questions. I am currently working my way through the Crave series. I'm listening to it, so I think I have 4 hours left in Covet.
Oh,
I am like.
Okay, I have to tell you something. I'm going to tell you a story. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Because I don't know where you listen to your audiobooks, but this is important. Okay.
Okay.
There's a girl in Germany, and this is almost anybody will tell you this about Covet. But there was a girl in Germany in particular who told me, like, Tracy, I can't believe you did this to me. And I said, what's wrong? She's like, I was walking home from school. I was listening to Covet. Everything was going great. She said, and then I started crying. I mean, I started bawling, Tracy, like unhealthy crying. So bad I had to sit down. And that is not done in Germany, she told me. Just like that. That is not done in Germany. She says, and people are coming up to me and they're like, let me call your mother. Do I need to call the police? What is wrong? Are you all right? And she's like, I don't know what to tell them. Like, what do I tell them? Like, no, I'm crying because of a book. She says, turn the book off. But I can't turn the book off because, oh my God, you just did this horrible thing. How could I not know what happens next? So I'm just sitting there crying. And then another one was like, oh, I was on an airplane. It was really bad. It was not okay. So I'm just warning you, if you're listening to the audiobook of Covet.
Oh my gosh.
You want to do it somewhere where.
Okay. Like cleaning my house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Cleaning your house or washing the dishes, perfect time to listen to the end of Covet. I will tell you, I bawled my head off writing it. My middle son is the jokester in the house. And I remember he had come in to check on me because I hadn't been out of my room in many hours because I was like hunched over my computer as I tend to be when I'm writing. And tears are pouring down my face. He's like, Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, Jackson. And he's like, oh my gosh, really? So then he tells me jokes to like breathe.
Break the tension. It's fine.
Tracy, I will riot. I'm not okay.
And he tells me jokes to get me out of it, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm better. And then he goes to leave. And I start, because I always get back into writing by reading the last 2 paragraphs I'd just written,
Yeah.
From reading that, I start crying again. And he's like, oh my God, I'm out of it. So then I sent it to my editor and I hadn't heard back on it. I'm like, well, wait, what do you think? What do you think? And so I finally called her. I'm like, what do you think? And she said, excuse my language. She's like, fuck you. I don't even like you right now. And she hung up on me. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I go upstairs with my partner. Her name is Stephanie. I go upstairs and my partner is reading it. And I say, well, do you like it? She like pulls the covers over her head, rolls over, and she says, you need to find somewhere else to be right now. She's like, you are not invited.
Everyone.
I did. So I'm just warning you, doing the dishes, cleaning your house. I will also say Covet, I'm also told very often that either Crush or Covet are everybody along with Charm are people's favorite book. So it's not like the ending is so horrible. It's just that if you like to laugh, Crush is your favorite book. If you like to cry, Covet is your favorite book, is what I've been told.
I will be sending you a message as
Yes,
soon as I am done. Like this week, I'll be like, Tracy.
I will.
The fuck did you do to me?
No, I am just apologizing to you in advance and giving you the warning of make sure you're not like driving the car down the freeway or something.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
Exactly. May not be the best place.
I'm so scared.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you said that your middle son inspired a character, and then you said he's the jokester. Is he Flint?
Yeah.
We love our dragon boy. He's great.
I know. I love my dragon boy too. Yes. Flint is, my son, has a major afro. He has like those really light brown, amber colored eyes.
So
He's always got a smile on his face, even though there's a lot of other stuff going on under the surface. There's a lot of Nora and Flint.
My
And he's also
heart.
gigantic. He's like 6'5".
Oh my gosh. I love that. Oh, he's so great.
Oh, thank you.
So the two questions I do want to combine, both Crave related. Who is your favorite character from the Crave series? I know that'll be really hard. And I'm also dying to know how you got your inspiration for Ludaris.
Oh, okay. That's so fun. Okay. The favorite character from the Crave series is such a hard question for me to answer. I always say, let's take Grace, Jackson, and Hudson out of it because I love them all. Because, even though we did the hero switch and everything else, one of the things that was so incredibly important to me in the series was to make sure that Jackson was never vilified, because I think that the concept of like first love, I think so many times young girls, young people in general, I'm raising 3 boys, tend to think that their first love is it. And I found through the years that it actually is. I've met a lot of readers who are like, oh yeah, I met him when I was 15 and we've been together for 20 years. And I'm like, that is amazing. But I also think that for a lot of people, that's not the case. And I think that sometimes you see in books where they really vilify the other hero. And I'm like, I don't think that's fair. I think sometimes you just grow apart. Like Jackson was the hero Grace needed in a world she didn't understand, in a world where she was being hunted and all of these things. But as she came into, I love Jackson too. I love him a lot. And as she came into her power and really started to feel who she was and become the queen, or what, that we get to know, I think that she needed more a guy like Hudson, who was like, I've got you. I can take care of anything, but I'm going to let you take care of it. I'm right here if you need me, because I know you've got this. And I think there's such power in that, and understanding that didn't make Jackson bad. It just meant that she and Jackson are different people than when they first met, and that's okay. So I always take the 3 of them out because I love them all too much to choose. And then it depends what day you catch me. Like favorite, like other, like main core character. I am a Macy girl all the way. I love Macy.
I can see it
so much. I just, she's one of my favorites. I always say that Grace is the character I've written that's most like me in the world, which is always fun because when people feel like, oh, I love Hudson, but Grace, oh my God. And I'm like, what? Not always, but occasionally I get that. But Macy is there's a big part of me in Macy too, and she's very special to me. But like for like other characters in the whole big series, you haven't met. Well, maybe if you're in Covet, you have met her. I love Calder. Calder is
I just met her.
Fun. She has the best lines. My partner tells me you're channeling your inner Calder. Like she's just says all the things that like you kind of wish you could say sometimes. And I think maybe that's probably true. And anyway, I love Calder so much that the spinoff series, Sweet Nightmare, takes place at Calder Academy, an academy run by her family. And you actually get to meet her family and see where Calder came from and all of this in Sweet Nightmare and Sweet Cake.
So I know where I'm going after Crave.
Yes. Well, I hope so. And it's a lot of fun. It's much more, it's got more of a horror bent than than the Crave series does. It's a lot darker and like
love it.
So
definitely love that.
I'm here for it.
So, was there a second part to what's your favorite character?
Yes, and how in the heck did you come up with Ludaris?
Because Ludaris,
so crazy.
Right. That was kind of like an ongoing thing. Like I wanted like something that like my editor and I had talked, and we really wanted like some really cool way to like, put people on the circle. And that was like a game that could be played, but that actually had much greater ramifications as well,
Yeah.
And then, so we had kind of thought about this, like getting, like the base thing of it. And then I thought, oh my God. So it takes place in Alaska, right? And my partner is an engineer and super brilliant and super big in climate change and all of those things. And anyway, she had been reading one of her science journals. And there was an article that had said that if theoretical physics, and in fact, Big Bang Theory, right? Sheldon actually went up there. I saw that episode after I'd written Ludaris, actually. But they actually went and camped at the North Pole. But the theory is that there are places in the North Pole that if you walk, you step into a portal that'll transport you directly to the surface of the sun. Obviously, you will die. But quantum physics has this whole theory about it. And I thought, oh my God, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Like, also terrifying beyond belief, right? If you're just wandering around the North Pole, but also like super fascinating. And so then I thought, okay, what if we have these portals in the middle of this game that just transport them like somewhere and just changes everything, right? Yeah. And so then that came about. And then we were thinking about, well, like the sun and this and that. And that's how the ball got to be called a comet. And all of these, so just all these little pieces that came from different things that came from like the scientific article that that's what I do. Like, I just get fascinated by something and it just kind of whirls in my brain until I can like kind of like think of like, oh, you know, like you go down, like you're driving down the street and like, what if this happened like in like some world or whatever, like, or, oh, that's a really great place to bury a body.
I really like how in your life that this is like a fun thing that you do. And in mine, that's called anxiety.
Right, I think it's all how you label it, right? Yeah. Exactly.
I need to put a spin on it and do your version because that sounds way better.
Yeah.
Oh, you point. Oh my gosh, that is a really good point, right? Like, I've gone through like the panic attacks and all of that in you know, in my younger years, and it's where Grace gets them. But yeah, like good I'm outlook. Always like, yeah, what if this happens? Outlook. And yeah. You know, I wrote this book. Let me see. I have it. Yeah, I have it on the shelf back here. I can show you a copy of it. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stand up because I'm in my pajama bottoms still.
It's fine.
Look at me just
girl. Same. I have a rice pack on my belly.
Yeah, we are just here.
I wrote this book years ago called Doomed, and it is a Pandora's box story, but instead of opening a box, she opens an attachment and loads it into a massive multiplayer online game and takes down the whole world, right? Like, it's a total techno-Armageddon book. And I had so much fun writing it, like reimagining Pandora, because Pandora gets such a bad rap. Like, I will go to the grave on Pandora gets a bad freaking rap when she was literally created to punish Prometheus. Like, how is that her fault? How is that her fault? Blame Zeus, blame Hephaestus, blame Prometheus. Yeah. This is not Pandora's fault. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I wanted to tell a different story. And oh my gosh, the Doom thing just came back to me, actually.
Oh,
we're talking about like the physics, right? The physics and all of that, and the science that kind of went into like the idea of Ludaris, some of the Ludaris stuff and all of that. Like with Doomed, it was the same thing. There was this, at the time, actually a friend of mine, her name is Sherry Thomas. I don't know if you've ever read a book by her. She's writing a Lady Sherlock series right now. That's super cool, mystery series. But anyway, she wrote a lot of historical romances before she moved into this. And anyway, she had read an article that was in Vanity Fair, I believe. And it was about inspiration, right? And Vanity Fair had run an article on this virus blended threat thing called Stuxnet. And I don't know if you've heard of it now because it's been several years because this book came out in 2012. But it was this thing that was conceived of under Bush and implemented under Obama. And it was designed specifically to be a virus worm that took down the nuclear program in Iran. And I was just like, anyway, she's like, I know you're writing this book. She says, I just thought this was interesting. It might be something. And I thought, oh my God, this is totally exactly what I need, right? I need something like this. And so at about that time, the reason they were writing about it is it was a huge secret project, and it was designed to only work on this one very specific operating system that was only used in very specific things. Like, they didn't upload it in Iran. They uploaded it way over here and planned on it working its way. Well, like, shockingly, viruses do, whether computer or biological, it tended to do more than they thought it was going to do, and it jumped. It started showing up in other places. And so then all these computer scientists in the world are like, what the hell is this? This is the most sophisticated thing I've ever seen, which means they knew it had to come out of, there are only certain places it could possibly have come out of, right? Mm-hmm. This is before America had claimed credit for it even, but it was assumed that at that point that it had come from America and that they'd worked with, big tech companies or whatever else. And so anyway, when I was doing like that, I just decided, well, that's what I need to use. I need to use this virus. So then it was about like finding out everything I could about the virus and talking to everybody. And then like, what does it look like at the end of the world? Like if the world is ending around you, again, this was 12 years ago, so things were different then.
The
If the
world
world
was
was
supposed to
ending
end
around you,
in 2012. Remember
right?
that?
Like, yeah, because at the time I was married to an electrical engineer. And I was like, what does it need to take down? He said, like, he told me it needs to take down electricity. Because if it takes that down, then really nothing works. Even 10 years ago, like nothing works. Like, and I realized, you need electricity to pump gas at the gas pumps. You need electricity to be able to pay for anything, to be able to access your bank account, to be able to anything. If you don't have, and so that's the first thing I had this virus do. And one of the most interesting facts I learned, because I talked to like professors of, sociology professors who deal with like, catastrophes and this and that. See, any society is only 3 days away from total anarchy. Because if your child has gone, or it's only 9 meals, if your child has not eaten in 3 days, has gone 9 meals without eating, what will you do on the 4th day to make sure that your child eats? And it was
good point.
such a point to me. And I kind of, that what if is what powered this whole book, right? Like, well, what does that look like then? And so yeah, the very anxiety. Oh, that's it. Very anxiety inducing. So my best friend read the book, and this is at the time when Amazon was experimenting with thinking about putting ads in the back of Kindle, like for different things. And she said, Tracy, they need an ad in the back of this one, because this whole time I just kept flipping over to Costco to that like buy a year's worth of meals. She's like, I just kept flipping over thinking I needed to buy this. Like, I just thought, this is not okay. This is not okay. This could happen and this is not okay. She's like, so that ad would make so much money if they actually put it at the end of your book. So anyway,
gosh.
Yes,
you're gonna have us all doomsday planning,
right?
Literally.
So sometimes what ifs are very, very anxiety inducing for me as well. That's where I was going.
Wow.
Now my anxiety is even higher than when we started this.
I'm sorry. No.
I'm kidding. That sounds so good though. Like, and just the fact that you as an author, like, do take the time to like research so much, and like now it's like so many more questions while I'm reading your books of like, well, where did that come from? Where was this coming from? Because now I know that there's like so much more intention behind everything that it's like, wait a second. Wait, hold up.
Yeah, I spent like when I was writing Charm, I was up in I'd been invited to speak at Amherst, and I had gone to speak, but over the summer, but anyway, I had gone to this art museum up there, and they had all these upside down trees. And I was looking at how the shadows cast and everything. And I thought, this is so interesting. And I like spent they were like, as you were leading up to the art museum, and I made my partner pull over, and I got up and I'm just walking around these trees for like an hour and a half, like looking at this as I'm trying to imagine what the shadow world looks like. Like, what does it look like as you cast all of these things? And so there's like a whole section of description there that came from that hour and a half where I spent just walking around this tree, just thinking about shadows in the sun and what does it look like and what does it do. And
that's amazing.
It's just weird the way my brain works.
Okay, so
I don't think it's weird though. I do think it's really cool. Sorry, Callie. I'll make this very fast. No, I just think that's really cool because we've chatted with like other authors who are in the very beginning stages of their writing journeys right now, and it's like, oh, it came to me in a dream, or I just thought this would be cool. But hearing how the thoughts like get actually put into your books and how they originate and everything that goes into it, it's not just, oh, I just thought it would be neat. Like, there is so much more behind it, and I think it's an amazing process.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I mean, sometimes I just think it would be really cool for the shadow world to be purple.
Yes.
But, because like so much more cool than like gray. Like, who wants to live in a gray world? If you get to Charm, then you will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think that a lot of writers, right? Well, one, I love research. I mean, I don't think I would have gone to graduate school and all that if I didn't like research. But yeah, all these things about like the world that we live in, if you flip it just a little, how does that become fantastical? That's why I really love setting my fantasy, paranormal books, whatever you want to call them, in the real world, because I love the idea of it not being in a whole different realm, even though I have done that obviously with Starbringer, with Charm. I love the idea of it being in our world, just flipped a little. Just what if this one thing was different? What does that look like in the world that we live in?
I love it.
So
And now I'm like riding a train, and then you're looking out the window, instead of seeing trees going by, you're seeing sea turtles swimming. Like, just little things that would be like magical in your
oh my
normal
gosh,
life.
Cool. I would love that.
one of my best friends, the one who was like flipping and said you need to put the ad in the back of Doom. She's, like I said, she's a writer. Her name is, she's writing as Emily Jane now. She used to write as Emily McKay. And one of my favorite books by her, we were going to a conference in Chicago, and her favorite urban fantasy book of all time takes place in Chicago, and it's the Harry Dresden series by Jim Butcher. And she said, what if we walk off this plane and I walk into Harry Dresden's world? Right?
I would
And
love
I thought,
that.
oh, you've got to write that. You've got to write that. So she wrote this whole book called Untethered about this girl who lives in Austin, and we have a very famous independent bookstore here named Book People. So she walks into Book People, and there's a portal in Book People, or a doorway in Book People, that takes her into this whole other realm that is actually the book series that she knows, and she falls in love with the lead of the book series, and like she knows some of the things that are going to happen before he does, because she's already read the series. You know, and it's like this really interesting idea, and it all starts with just like a little flip. What if I'm just in my favorite bookstore and I walk through a doorway into something else?
I'm totally here for it. I need that in my life.
Right? It's so cool. Can you imagine like just walking into the pages of one of your favorite books? That would be amazing.
I'd never come back.
I know, right?
No.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of, like, some of these books are pretty scary. I don't know. Maybe I'd come back after like a giant hurricane. Right. Fair enough. Sweet Nightmare has a giant hurricane, paranormal hurricane barreling down on it, while nightmares have escaped and monsters are roaming the island. So, I mean, I don't know. It was a lot.
It is a sweet nightmare.
It was, yeah.
We just want to stay in one happy little section of our favorite books.
Like this one
exactly.
chapter.
We'll stay in the good part. We'll stay in the love part. The love, area of the books, the romance.
I'm just gonna stay with Hudson and Grace in New York in the Dragon Court and call it a day.
To be fair, that's one of my favorite scenes. That's one of my favorite sections from the whole series. I loved writing that so much.
It was so good. So good.
I love New York. Yeah. I had written a horde into Crush, and my editor said, I had written this whole section, and my editor just took it all out. She said, nope. And she wasn't wrong. She was like, it was down as they were getting to the Dragon Boneyard. She said, basically, you made the journey to the Dragon Boneyard more than the destination, and that doesn't work, because then the destination feels like a letdown, right?
Yeah, unimportant.
So she had to take
for the important part that it was. Yeah.
But I was like, so the big joke, one of the things with the Banshee, so the big joke among all my fans is like, she took my Banshee and she would never let me have it back in any of the other books. So the first thing I did in Sweet Nightmare, I wrote a Banshee. Of course I did. And because, come on. But anyway, when I went to Covet, I'm like, I'm writing the Dragon Horde and you're not, and I'm going to make it in such a way that she can't be like, no, this is not important.
Take it out.
And obviously
it's so important now. So
right? Yeah. So
I love that. Sorry, Callie, I totally interrupted you.
You're fine. I'm going to shift it over to, well, because I went through Starbringer and I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah. And so, but your main character, Kalinda, or Callie, and then Montana was telling me there's a Callie side character in the Crave series. So now I'm like, there's two Callies. And they're spelled how I spell my name, which is like I never ever see. So I'm like, now I need to know, where's the inspiration come from? Is that a personal name?
I mean, I'm from Cali, right?
Okay.
I'm from California. Yep. So that's a big one. But no, it is just a name that I very much like. I just think it's a really cool name.
So. Thank you.
If I haven't told you that I love your name yet, I love your name. I actually think my family's name is pretty freaking amazing. So I definitely have the most boring name on this podcast for sure. I was always very sad growing up about my name. I was like, in fact, when I was 5, I made my parents call me a different name because I hated it so much. Like, my mom was a very no nonsense kind of woman. And I don't know what her whole life, she's like, I don't know how I got you as a daughter. Like, I love you so much, but I don't know how I got you. And so I've always been like, oh, my name's so boring. So that's why my characters tend to, except for Grace, actually, tend to not have very, very boring names because I like to do something a little different when I can.
Callie, Rain.
So I'm glad you like Starbringer. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, it was so good. And I'm so interested too because so that one you co-wrote with Nina Croft. What is the writing process like, and like how does that differ from when you're just writing with yourself? Is it something
I think it's actually different anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't even interrupt.
Well, no, you're good. I was just thinking, like, yeah, do you do like separate chapters? Because, which I haven't done Crave yet, but I imagine there's probably dual POV for the chapters like Starbringer, which is why I loved Starbringer. No. It's not. It's all one. Oh,
all Grace.
There's a couple bonus chapters at the end from either Jackson or Hudson's point of view, but that's it. The whole book is all good. The whole series is all Grace. You're in Grace's head the whole time.
See, and I'm going there. I'll get there. I'm
except
finishing
for Charm.
the Third of Glass series.
For Charm,
it's taking me a minute, but
Charm is on my from list. Both points of view.
Yeah. But I think that's why I like Starbringer so much, because of all the different character POVs. Because you kind of feel like, oh, this is your female main character, but then all of a sudden you're over here and you're like, oh no, you are the main character, and now I'm confused.
Well, I am a child like of the late 80s and early 90s, and John Hughes films are like, and even though I know a lot of them have not necessarily stood the test of time in some ways, right? But young Tracy loved The Breakfast Club so much, and the idea that that there are these 5 very disparate characters stuck in a room or a spaceship together. And what does that look like? And like in Breakfast Club, the stakes are very small, in so much but they're very big for them, right? Because their parents are all, and the vice principal's out to get them and all of these things. But now, like, what do you do if you stick those characters like different? Obviously, we've got the criminal, all of that. But like, if you stick them in a spaceship and then have somebody trying to kill each one of them for a different reason, and now so everybody is now trying to kill that spaceship because all for different reasons, and you have to like figure out who it is that's after us now and what do they want to do and how do we fix it so that none of us die, right?
It's very stressful.
I just thought like let's just up the ante on that, and had a really, really kind of great fun time doing it. I've actually written books with several of my books I've written with other people. I wrote a book called International Kissing Club with 2 of my very close friends. And that was about 4 kids from very small town Texas, Paris, Texas, going on an international exchange program. And they were trying to figure out how they could kind of stay in touch while they were all over the world. And they decided they would have a contest to see who could kiss, the most boys in their whatever. My girl, of course, she was the artist, so she went to the real Paris, and of course, so they all end up finding a love story. But that one we all did. We just took a different girl and we wrote her chapters. Another one I've done back in the burbs with Avery Flynn, and that one we were telling from one point of view, and so it was kind of about overlaying, like she would write one and then I would kind of go back and add to it. I would write, she would go back and add to it. And then I did a series with a woman named Carolyn Childs. We did 2 YA books that were superheroes. And that was kind of the same thing. And I think Nina and I have kind of done it more like that, where she'll write, like we worked like all summer, for example, in Sunkeeper, we worked all summer back and forth, really hammering out an outline that we could live with. That I'm usually more of a, here are my major beats, give me time to like play in the middle of them. But with this, we came up with a really, really solid outline that we were both really happy with so that we could just follow it. And, things may change. We're not all the way through. Things may change towards the end based on things. But in general, we pretty much know where we need to go. And so right now, she's writing a couple chapters, sending them to me. I'm redoing, I'm changing. Like, she's great at world building, like science fiction world building. She will really get into the description of the spaceship and what it looks like and all of that. She's so good at it. And well, there are 4 doorways into story. Here's my professor hat on. You get into a story 4 different ways. You can get into story through world, you can get into story through language, you can get into story through character, or you can get into story through conflict, right? I think some of the best bestsellers will get you into all of them, right? Nina's brilliant at world building. The doorway that I always choose to enter a story in is character. It's my favorite thing. It's what I love the most. It's where what I think I'm best at. And so then I take whatever's going on in that chapter that we, and then I really work on the dialogue and making the characters really come alive, giving them their quirks, giving them their really fun things. So we've worked plot out together. She does world building. We've worked plot and conflict right out together. She does world building. I do character kind of a thing. Really. And so we kind of combine together. So we're each writing a portion of each chapter,
That's so cool.
That is so cool.
That's it happens. It works differently with everybody.
Yeah.
And plays to our strengths. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I've never written a sci-fi book before. This is my very first time. Starbringer was my very first one, which is why we call it sci-fi light. It's in space, but if you're not a major sci-fi reader, you can still, I think, enjoy it because of the banter and the fun and the sexy times and
I feel like when I was describing it to Montana, and it's very new modern Star Wars, where it's giving it that new fresh light of young, we're trying to solve this problem and save the world, but then you still get the love story that I'm oh yay, love stories. There's multiple.
Yeah, right?
So
that's
good.
Fun. Getting to write Beckett and Rain.
Yes.
Beckett is one of my favorite
Which when I say who's the female main character? Because I just really liked Rain and Beckett so much that I was can this be about them?
I know. As we're doing Sunkeeper, we're leaning I'm leaning heavier into Beckett.
Yeah.
But I love Kelly and Ian, and we're doing really interesting things with I don't want to reveal the big secret in Starbringer, but the big spoiler. But we're doing really interesting things with the Ian kind of thing going on over there. And I'm having a lot of fun with Beckett, and Rain is very annoyed with her at the moment. So I'm having a lot of fun with that too.
I love Rain.
I'm terrible. I like it when they, when they're
fight
mad.
A little.
Fun banter, fun dialogue, sexy times, all the good things come out of the striking of sparks, right?
We're here for it. So if you had to live in a world that you have created in any of your books, which world would you choose?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Can I choose 2?
Yes. Yeah. We are all about why choose.
I am. Why choose? I am as well. My very first YA series, I'm a mermaid girl. I mean, if everybody asks what's your fairy tale? What's your Little Mermaid? This is it. And I'm obviously older than you guys, so mine was the before the Disney version was just the plain Hans Christian Andersen cartoon where she turns into sea foam at the end. Every day when I come home from school when I was very small, 4 or 5, I'd get my little snack and I'd watch part of Little Mermaid before I started doing whatever it is 5-year-olds have to do for homework or whatever. And that was my little me time of the day. And while my mom was, starting dinner or whatever. And so yeah, living in the world, I wrote my very first YA series was a mermaid trilogy called Tempest. The first book was called Tempest Rising, so it's the Tempest Rising trilogy. And she was a surfer in San Diego, which is where I grew up. And she kind of dove into the sea. That's a bad description. She always knew when she turned 17 she was going to have to be a choice between being a mermaid and human. She always knew she was going to choose human, but when she turned 17, weird stuff starts happening. Like she grows gills in English class, she's out surfing and her legs become a tail, like stuff like that happens. And she ends up having to go into the sea. I love that whole world that I created there. It was such an amazing, fun world. And like, again, building on like I learned more about algae, especially the bioluminescent algae, than I'd ever imagined I would know about algae in my life when I was writing that book. But that world was a lot of fun. And then I also really love the world of Catmare Academy. I'm not going to lie. I had so much fun. My editor always teases me because I used to take calls in my bedroom. And she's like, now I see why Catmare Academy looks the way it is. Like you just live in a brothel. I have a disco ball in my ceiling. I have like, I'm a lot, you know, I just have. And so like so much of Catmare Academy, like Gothic American, like literature and of course the romantic poets too, but really Edgar Allan Poe, Nathaniel Hawthorne, that, you know, Emily Dickinson, that whole time I just loved so much. And so like the whole Gothic castle and all of that of Catmare kind of grew from that. So
absolutely.
I would not mind living in the world of Catmare Academy.
And I mean, we have beautiful vampires and witches and warlocks and dragons
and dragons, right? And dragons. Like what is not to love about dragons? A world with dragons and vampires and witches and werewolves and all these other giants.
I'm okay with all of that.
Sign me up. I'm waiting for my letter.
Well, hopefully it will come.
Tracy, I'm going to send you our addresses so you can write us letters.
Okay. Well, they're sending out boxes, right, for Calder Academy. I don't know if you want a letter there, but those letters were coming. So it's a little darker, a little more dangerous.
That's okay. We will go kick ass there too.
Excellent. Please come kick ass there. It is
I
like
do
it's
need
built
motivation to start working out.
Galveston Resort, you know. There you go. So it's like totally opposite of a Gothic castle. Like, you know, those Victorian resorts they used to have where they had the rest cures and stuff. So like, you know, from The Awakening by Kate Chopin and all of that. So it's like built in one of those. It's like decrepit now when they've kind of moved into this school there. And so it's very
I can't wait. Oh my gosh. I'm like, just get through Crave, focus there, and then move on to Sweet Night. But like, now I'm super excited. I'm like, no, focus. Oh, I love it.
So what other hobbies and I guess things that do you enjoy outside of like reading and then also researching? Because now we've just learned that this is such a big part of your writing process.
I do love researching like everything. I love cooking. I love cooking. My new thing I've decided is I'm really going to learn how to bake bread because it's always scared me. It's the one thing I never do. And I'm like, I'm just going to do it. So that's my project for 2025 is learning how to be a good bread baker. But I love to cook. I love hanging out with my family, having game nights with my friends. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragon player, but two of my boys, my younger two, are dungeon masters, and I have contributed to many a Dungeon and Dragon campaign that they run for their friends.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm like, why are you asking me? They're like, really? Like, if you can't help me like figure something out in this situation. So I'm like, all right, let's dive into the Dungeon and Dragon world and come up with something really cool. So I do love playing, you know, game nights and dancing. I love dancing. It's one of my favorite things to do for exercise and also for fun. So
yeah. We just like to be goofy and dance and just have a good time. You know, we're always just
absolutely
like
listening to music. I love to just have music on in the house And just,
Yes.
my boys are all adept at kitchen dancing. Like they'll come in to like grab a snack while I'm cooking dinner. I'm like, dance with me. And we just dance around the kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have like a music player in our kitchen. And then so the kids will come in and like if I'm listening to like what I want to listen to, they'll like go and tell Alexa, play this. So right now it's funny because my daughter like wants to listen to Christmas music, but I'm stuck in Wicked. So I'm like Wicked soundtrack over and over and over.
Yes.
Can't
Oh my gosh.
do anything else right now.
Now. When I was writing Covet, this is gonna be like our last story, but when I was writing Covet, that ending, I had been looking for like the perfect, because that music plays a big part in the Crave series, right?
Yes.
So I've been looking for like the perfect song to sum up like this whole thing, and I ran across Grace by Lewis Capaldi, and I thought, oh my god, I don't know if you've gotten to that part of Covet yet, but like I'm like, this is the song, and it became like the song of the series actually. But I'm like, this is the song. And so I played Lewis Capaldi on like nonstop while I was writing, probably why Covet, the end of Covet is so sad. I was listening to Lewis Capaldi songs the entire time, right? You're like, oh my God. So,
it's hitting me because like I've been listening to it since it came up in the book. I'm like, well, I have to listen to this song. I am not okay.
So anyway, the irony is it was the pandemic. So my youngest son would do his schoolwork in the game room right above. Every book gets written in a different spot in my house. It tells me where it wants to be written. That's where the words come. That book happened to be the dining room table. Right above the dining room table is the game room, and it's like open, right? So you've got all these open things. So this kid did school and where he played his PlayStation and all of these things the entire time in the pandemic. So he lived in that room practically, except for bed. All he heard was Lewis Capaldi like floating up. To this day, if we're in the car and Lewis Capaldi comes on a playlist, he's like, no, turn it off. Like, I am never listening to that man again. I don't even care if he's good. I don't even care. I cannot listen to him for one more second. No. Like, you tortured me for like 4 months. No. So he's got like a very firm line when it comes to Lewis Capaldi, but yes, music is part of my life, and that's why I choose my books so much.
Music does influence how you read and when you write. Yes.
Truth.
I think so.
And when we were reading more of like your About Me section and everything, it mentioned that you really like makeup. And Callie and I are very big makeup girls. Love it so much. So,
oh my God.
What is something like you cannot leave the house without, or you have to put it on before you go?
Mascara and at least a tinted lip gloss, if not a lipstick. But I will not ever leave without mascara on my eyes ever.
Same.
I mean, it's like so easy. You're just like a little lip gloss. I mean, you don't have to do the full face, but at least you've got some. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I'm a huge fan of the MAC mascaras, particularly. Like I've been through them all. I've been through Dior. I've been through like the L'Oreal. Everybody says like I don't discriminate. Like I've tried them all, and like the MAC ones are my favorite.
Yeah,
they're my favorite.
I'm still so stuck on the Rare Beauty one. It's so good.
That is a good one too. That is my second favorite. I was there. I was at Sephora one day, and it was right after it had come out, and they're like, and I've actually bought that mascara for like 3 or 4 people as a present, like friends of mine, mine's teenage daughters. But yeah, the Rare mascara is really good. I actually think the MAC one, I can't remember the name, but the one with the silver ball, I like it better. So, but yeah, the Rare mascara is my second favorite.
They're so good. Like I said, we're big makeup girlies, and as you were talking about music and just dancing, it made me think. So with us living in 2 different states, Callie and I hadn't seen each other in 4.5 years until October.
That's so amazing. Yeah. That's like the best. And you guys get all dressed up and be glamorous. Like that ball was so cool. It was hot, but it was very cool.
It was very hot, but it was needed. And the ball was like
I have this video.
To go in.
It totally was. And I have this video. Saturday morning, we went and did a photo shoot. But when we were getting ready, we were just listening to music, and I have a video of us just dancing while doing our makeup. I'm like, oh, see, that's the vibe we're going for. So now you have to join us. And
I would love that. Party. I would love that. Next time we're all in the same place, same event or whatever, we're gonna have to do that because that's a lot of fun.
That would be so much fun.
So much fun.
Would die for that because I can just see us all just jamming out. Even the night before, like, we all had colored contacts for the ball, and so we're wearing our contacts and our PJs and eating cookies and dancing, and it was just great. And I'm like, you have to join us in these scenarios now, because I just know that we're all gonna vibe together.
Oh my gosh. My friends and I used to go to these RWA conventions where like the Rita Awards would be. My friend Sherry, for example, has been nominated for she's won 3. I know she's been nominated for 4, and she's either 1, 2, or 3. I think she's won 3. Rita's
amazing.
And another friend of mine, Emily McKay, won 1. I was nominated. Never won, but anyway, so it's a big deal, right? It's like these big, balls, and you get into these big, beautiful dresses, and you do the makeup. So we would always get like 4 of us in a room, and that's like how we just did conferences that way, because it was like more fun to do a conference with a friend, right? Than everybody have their own room. So we'd always be in our rooms together, and I always remember like those memories of getting ready for the Ritas are some of my favorites, right? And times where like, oh my God, none of us have hairspray, and I'm like wandering the halls. And the great thing at that time about RWA, we have obviously learned since then that there were a lot of problems that we did not know about under the surface. But at that time, one of the good things is, it really was a very, very supportive community. At least that's, when I was coming up anyway. I know things have changed or whatever. We'll talk about that a different time. But you would like wander the hallway and be like, I need hairspray. There'd be like 7 women. Oh, let me run, back to my room and get you some hairspray. Or, oh, I need, I forgot this, or I need a red lipstick. Oh yeah, let me have one. I've got one for you, or whatever else. Oh my gosh, my battery is running low. It just said that. So anyway,
we just have one more question.
Yeah.
So we're about to.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. So speaking of events and where we might and hopefully be able to see you in the future, what exciting things do you have coming up for like with your books for the new year? What events, new releases?
Awesome. I will be at the Faye Ball in Kansas City in March. I will be at I think I will be doing probably one other Faye Ball. I love the Faye Balls. The woman who runs them, Ashley, is incredible. She's like super smart, super on top of it. And I think everybody always has an amazing time. I will be at Spellbound in the Hudson Valley, which is a new one for like dark and kind of scary romance. In I think it's June. I will be in Columbia in March. I will also be at the Tucson Book Festival, and
that's like 2 hours from me.
Yeah.
But I'll be getting around. I think I'll be back in California, and then when Sweet Chaos comes out, I'll be doing some book signings at different places as well. So I actually decided I was gonna. That's me like paring down my schedule because I have a lot of books to write in the next 6 months.
Yes.
But that's some of the things I know I'll be doing, and I'm very excited because a lot of them are new, and some of them are old favorites like the Tucson Book Festival or Faye Ball. But yeah, and hopefully some Comic-Cons in there as well. So we'll see how that goes.
We are attending an event in July of next year in Des Moines, and they are looking for attending authors. So
July, what is it?
So it's called the Blood and Bone Ball. It's from Blood and Ash. That's their inspiration. We can send you the information too.
Oh yeah, send me the information. That sounds
cool. I know they did just post that they're looking for attending authors. So maybe we could catch you in July too.
That would be so fun. That would be so fun. Yeah, send me the information and I'll see what my schedule looks like.
Yes, and hopefully we can catch you multiple times this next year because we
that would be a lot of fun.
Give you a hug, say hi.
Yeah,
absolutely,
I'm definitely going to be looking.
I really enjoyed talking
the Faye
Ball.
Ball.
This has been so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, definitely look up the Faye Ball. It's so fun. Yeah. They do them in several different cities. And it's oh, well, yeah, it really is, right? A lot of people came in from Nebraska now that I think about it last year. I went last year and I had such a great time. So yeah,
that's amazing.
Come back. I'll come back. You come.
I'm going to come. I'm going to look it up. I need to figure out those dates. And I'm going to look.
I know Hannah, who wrote like Assistant to the Villain, who I just adore. She's the sweetest thing. She's going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to think. I know several other authors. If you look up the last Faye Ball, I think a lot of us, once they get you in, like we kind of love it so much, we all kind of just come back.
So
that means they're treating you really good, and I love that.
They do. They do. Ashley's
That's
incredible.
So important. So important. Well, this has been amazing, and thank you. We just love you so much. Like
We do.
Fangirling so hard, but also like new best friend.
Absolutely.
New best
Yeah.
friend.
No fangirling. Let's just be friends. Let's just be friends.
I knew
It was
when
really
we met
great
you
to
in
see you guys.
October
I
that
love
we
your
were going to be
bookshelves,
friends.
guys.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
you guys are amazing, and I do. Next time we're together, we're gonna have to put makeup on together, dance. That sounds like the best time ever.
Yay.
I will look forward to it.
Absolutely. And I will be messaging you as soon as I finish Covet.
Yes, please do. Let me know. Let me know what you want to say about that.
I will.
It's a magical human being.
Yes, we'll have to get together next time. You'll send me and let me know what you think of the end of Covet. And
I
Yes.
100%
I
will
feel
be
like
doing
maybe
that.
I've oversold it now, and now you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. So maybe
I'm a very emotional person. Don't.
Oh.
I'm like, I think you're underselling it at the tears that I will probably shed at
I'm
this
gonna
point.
tell you
Yeah.
something happened when you write to me. I'll tell you what it is, but something happens at the end that my fiance was so infuriated with at the time that we were getting a new Wi-Fi. She actually named our Wi-Fi after it and the password also after this thing that happens. And I'm like, why would you do that? She's like, so that every time you have to look at the Wi-Fi, you have to think about what you did.
That's diabolical.
So
I
savage.
love her.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
next event we're all together, please bring her because I need that
Yes.
savageness in my life.
Right. I will definitely bring her.
Definitely need
She's
to meet her
amazing.
now. Oh
And
my
I always want
gosh.
you now. Right? And I always wonder now because if my like I have a lot of teenagers in my neighborhood, and every once in a while they're like, they're out here and they're like trying, because it shows up all the Wi-Fi in the neighborhood, and like it's a very iconic thing that the Wi-Fi is named after. And every once in a while they'll be like, one of my neighbors will be like, yeah, my kid had her friends over and they were trying to figure out which house was Tracy Wolff's. Because they're like,
not hard. Figure out the Wi-Fi.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I like need to finish. It's gonna be today or tomorrow at this point that
Yeah.
I finish it. So
Okay, once you do, I'll tell you what my Wi-Fi is.
okay.
Yes.
And then I'll just be casually in Austin, like, hey Tracy, I'm hopping on your Wi-Fi quick.
Yeah, can I have the code?
Just parked out front.
I'll know which one it is. It's okay.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh
You'll know
my
exactly which
gosh.
one it is. So anyway, she's
Oh my
diabolical like that.
gosh.
She's a Scorpio. What you gonna do? She's a Scorpio.
That makes so much sense.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Wait, what is your sign?
I'm a Libra.
I get it. I so get it.
Yep.
And that pairing
opposite
is
of
amazing.
What are your signs? Callie, what are you?
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, my mom was a Taurus. Yeah. Awesome.
It totally checks out, her being a Taurus. My mom is also a Taurus. And I'm a Leo. And I'm like, yep, we mesh so well.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's incredible. They say that actually the Libra Taurus combination is the worst combination in the zodiac.
Yep.
And that was
Which
my parents,
is
and they
really
were
funny
married
because my
for a
husband
lot
is
of
a
years
Libra.
until my dad died.
Yeah.
Because you're married to a Libra?
Yep.
See? It works. I say it's the worst.
I'm just kidding. It's working.
Like,
it's working. He's great. I have
We
the
love
best
him.
husband.
It's fine.
We do. But sometimes when I'm like really in my moody zodiac, I'm like, oh, it's because you're a Libra. And like I want to blame it on that. And I'm like, no, it's not that. But I'm like, some of your tendencies.
I know, like they're like polar opposites, right? Like I said, my mom was always like, I don't know how you got to get that. I am very much an airy air sign, and Taurus, and my mother was very much a grounded earth sign.
Yep.
So it's always fun.
That's me.
But,
My house is full of fire energy. We have 3 Leos and an Aquarius, so she's just fueling the fire with her air. I'm like, oh, this is rough.
I have an Aquarius. Aquarius have always been like super important in my life. I have my oldest son is an Aquarius, and I've been the first boy I ever really loved was an Aquarius, and anyway, they are really special creatures. I love them so much, but they can fan a flame.
Oh yeah.
They can fan the good time flame, and they can fan like just let's burn it all down.
Yeah,
you know,
that is my daughter, and then my husband and my son and I are all Leos, so it.
I had my other two are Virgos, so it's a very interesting eclectic mix in our house. We've
Yes,
got Virgos, an Aquarius, a Scorpio, and a Libra. So it's a lot of fun.
Man.
Never a dull moment is what I can tell you.
Never ever. Well, Tracy, this has been an absolute blast. We are just so grateful that we got to do this and just become like absolute best friends with you. And yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a joy meeting you both, Callie, Montana. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we got to talk at the ball and we got to do this. And definitely keep me posted about Covet, but also keep me posted about where you guys are going to be, because I'd love to do a little makeup thing.
Yes,
I want to see.
We will definitely be trying to catch you sometime in 2025. It will be happening. We like to manifest on the podcast, so we're putting it out into the universe.
All right, we're putting it out into the universe. Let's just manifest this.
We will all be together again very soon, and we cannot wait. But seriously, just thank you. I'm gonna cry. You are the most phenomenal woman, and we are just so blessed that you gave us your time, and I'm seriously like tearing up.
You know what? I feel really lucky. Thank you for inviting me. Sincerely, I'm really, really glad to be here. Your podcast is so much fun, and it's such a great place to be. So thank you for having me. I really mean that.
Thank you.
And good luck with everything, and the almost 3-year-old.
Thanks. I need that one.
We were talking when you were gone. That's such a great age, right? Like they're almost out of the terrible 2s, but now they're in the very independent 3s. And so like they can't do things for themselves, but they want to do things for themselves, and then they get very upset when they can't.
Yeah.
And it's a very exciting time.
We're having the time over here. I don't know what kind of time it is, but it's a time.
It's so funny. She's your Aquarius, right?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, because I was telling Callie that it was my Aquarius that was such a terror at that time. Like he was ridiculous. Like I never believed in ever like having a little like backpack with anything. I'm like, no, that kid. I mean, I ran full out everywhere. Like he never wanted to be in his stroller. The second I put him down, he was gone. There was never met something he didn't want to climb.
Yep.
Ever. Never met something he didn't want to jump off of. Never met something, I was just like, we're going to die if I don't like put one of those cute little backpacks on you that I can like attach to me at some point.
Yep.
Like we do.
I get it. So, yeah. I do. I am living it.
Power to you. You got it. Well, and now look at him. He's got his own apartment that I'm decorating, and he's putting up with me. So it's all good. It all works out in the end.
You just need to leave like little subtle things throughout for him to find.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, look, here's your candle warmer. I'm not really a candle person. Well, you don't have to burn it. You just have to flip a switch on. It's fine. It has a timer, everything. Just,
boom.
Keep it smelling good in here. Again, you want to have a girl in here sometime soon, I'm assuming. So like we want it to be good.
You want to smell nice.
we want it to not smell like boys.
True.
No offense to boys. No offense to boys. But again, I am the mother of 3 sons, so anyway, lovely to talk to you guys, and thank you so much for having me, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you. It was so good to chat with you.
Too. Take care. And thank you so much for reading Crave and Starbringer. It means the world to me. It really does.
We have all of them on our list.
Before you go, we do. And before you go, we like to do we'll like take a picture. So we do a little hand heart, and then I'll take a screenshot. So we have like a picture together. Another one. Cute. I love it. Okay. I'll send that to you too.
All right. Thank you. Well, lovely to talk to you guys. Take care and hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.